Hello, everybody. Welcome to Telli Talks, where we talk about life, growth, relationships, and all things in between. We are at Classic Cat, and this episode is sponsored by A Lab. And I have a very special guest with me today, Brandon Broady.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love what you've done with the place. Oh, look, right on time. That is perfect. How convenient. Cheers to that. Yes. All right. Yeah. This is dope. I've only been to the Classic Cat at night, you know?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. Food is so good. Atmosphere is a vibe.
I didn't know it was even, a daytime. I didn't know it existed during the day.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just exists
just
for
you.
us.
Yeah, for you. Yeah. You got your artwork up here. You got your posts. Got all the stuff. Yeah.
Thank
This is legit, man.
Thank you. So for the people that don't know your journey, can you tell us how you got to where you are today?
Oh man, it's a long one, but it is in short. I've always been a class clown. I was the kid getting kicked out of class. I was very I had to get that joke out. I had great grades, terrible behavior. I was disruptive. It was probably me trying to like impress girls in my class. All I knew was I had to get that joke out. I had to get those jokes out, and so I was getting suspended sometimes. I was getting detentions for sure. My mom had to come to school numerous times. I was on contracts. I was those kids when they put the desk right by the teacher. Numerous times. I had my desk right next to the teacher, and it wasn't until my high school year. I remember we did like a Romeo and Juliet project, and my English teacher, was also in charge of the drama department, and he had us do this for Romeo and Juliet project. We all had to take a scene from Romeo and Juliet, do a modern day rendition, so we could either act it out in class or we could film it. So my group, we ended up filming it. My teacher was blown away. We kind of did like a parody. We kind of we've had a lot of things that had to do that were going on at the time. So we put the Matrix in there. We put different things. So we incorporated all those things, and he thought it was great. So he asked me, why don't you, you should audition for the play. And my thing was like, I thought like acting was for losers and emo, and just like it wasn't.
It wasn't your thing. You were into comedy. Right.
Well, I wasn't even into comedy. I was just a kid that was the class clown. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. When I was really young, I thought I wanted to be a paleontologist because Jurassic Park. But then when I realized I got older, I was like, I don't know, paleontologists are just glorified like maids. They just dust. They just go they just go out in the desert and they're dusting. They're just dusting stuff. And I was like, I'm not trying to dust. So I would play sports with my friends. I was shorter. And I think I had some kind of hoop dream thinking I was going to play basketball or something, but I wasn't. I was all right. I would do a few and one moves here and there, but I wasn't like really like the best. So flash forward sophomore year, we had to do the Odyssey. It was another project. We had to do Homer's Odyssey, and we had to do like another thing where we film a scene, do that same thing. My group we knocked it out the park. My 10th grade teacher told me, she thought it was great. She ended up telling my previous teacher, hey, you should really see what they did. I think it's great. He was like, yeah, I told Brandon he should audition for my thing. Still didn't do it. I was kind of worried, still worried about what people would think. 2 years in. Still like, nah, that's not my thing. I remember when my friend Cindy Van Queer, she turned around in class after we were all watching our own project, like what it turned out. She's like, Brandon, you're really good. Like, you should get into like entertainment or something. She said something, acting or entertainment. And I was like, like that's when it kind of first, like, I was like, well, I'm getting this from, because my friends in the neighborhood, we used to roast each other. We call it joning from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Joning. We used to joan each other out, and that's all I really knew, And so I was very worried about what, if I did do acting, what my friends would think. My friends were playing varsity football, basketball, just into sports. In acting, drama was not it. Finally, my junior year, the girl I was dating at the time, she auditioned. She was going to audition for this play. She told me to come with her just to do it. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. Ended up auditioning, ended up getting cast. And I was actually like getting cold feet when I got cast. I wanted to like quit immediately before I started, because I was like, oh shit, now I got to really commit to this.
Right, absolutely.
And I did it. And I kind of like went through the early rehearsals. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't really, I kept it kind of low key. When they found out, of course, just the idea of me doing that, they're roasting me. They're like, you're doing a fucking play? You're doing a play? Which I think the word needs to be changed. Play just sounds kind of like, it needs something else, It needs.
What do you think it should be called?
I don't know, man. Like, you doing a, I don't know what the word would be, but it needs to be something. But play just doesn't sound something tougher, I guess. I don't know. the high
something
school.
More swaggier.
Some swaggier, yeah. You're
that
doing
the kids can brag about.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
you're doing
I'm
the spring
play.
swag. You're doing the the swag performance. So ended up doing it. Ended up having a great time. My friends ended up coming to the play, and they were like blown away. They're like, "Yo, like you actually, that was good. Like you were really good." It's changed their whole conception about what they thought drama was, what they thought the play was.
Right.
Of course, I made friends in the drama department now, and that made me feel a lot more comfortable. So then my senior year, now I'm starting to kind of realize like, whoa, this is something that I'm good at. I didn't put too much effort into it. It didn't take away from anything else that I was doing, and I liked it. So then my senior year, I ended up, I hosted our morning announcements. I hosted our pep rally. I hosted our like heritage show, which was like a talent show at the end of the school year. I did another play, and then I did a spring musical. So I just fully immersed myself.
This was your senior year,
senior high school. And all these things were just like, I mean, it was very consistent. It was like, yo, I really enjoyed it. Like, I don't know what it was. One of the classes that I never skipped, that I would sometimes skip other classes to go to, was my TV film production class, because it was the same teacher from my ninth grade class, the same English teacher. He was running the TV film production class. He was also running the morning announcements. His name was Mr. Graham. So Adam Graham is his full name. And he was the one that really like was fostering what he saw. It was like, fuck all this other stuff. Like, you have a talent in this. I can absolutely see it. And he really like helped cultivate that and nurture that. So then by the time I did this spring musical, which was called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, I played the villain in it with Miles Gloriosus. So I had to sing. I had a solo. I had to sing.
Were you into singing? Or
hell no! I was like sing a little bit of 8701 Usher in the shower, but like it wasn't, or sing some hooks from some rap songs, but it wasn't like me really
full on opera.
Hell no.
Right.
I didn't know, but then I found that I could actually, like, I wasn't singing, but I could sing.
Right.
I could actually keep within the pitch of what the song was and execute what needed to happen. So after that musical, he came to my parents, and he told my parents came to the musical, and he told them, he was like, I think he should really pursue this. He has a real talent. I mean, he's learned exponentially, and since the 3 productions that he's done with me, it's just been, he's gained a lot. And I did gain a lot more respect for the craft, and I gained a lot more respect for just all the other people that were involved. So my mom was kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool, but I think, she's a lawyer, so she was kind of like, go get your law degree.
Right.
Had something to fall back on. My dad was actually blown away. He was like impressed, so he was on board. So then I ended up going to Towson University in Towson, Maryland, and I signed up to do a major in theater. Mm-hmm. Because of Mr. Graham's words. And so when I got to the school, I was going through the program. Then I found out they had a film program, which I was minoring in. And I was like, fuck that. Like, I want to major in film and minor in theater. But I had already done so much in the theater program that I was like, you know what? Let me just do a double major. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I got 2 Bachelor of Science degrees, 1 in film, 1 in acting from Towson. And at Towson, now I knew myself. So when there was stuff to be hosted, I was hosting it. When there was like different production stuff to be done, I was involved with it. I ended up starting stand-up comedy around that time. I was 20 years old, started doing stand-up because one of my friends signed me up. Now, my friend's name was Gozy, and he was a year younger, but my other friend Alan, he signed us up. Gozy got biggest comedian at the end of his senior year. Mm-hmm. I got biggest comedian in the yearbook into my senior year, so it just made sense that we were all gonna do comedy. Yeah, it seemed like it was in the cards for us. So he signed us up. We had 2 weeks to get ready. We had to spend, it was like, we spent 2 weeks to get 3 minutes together. So we told our friends to come. They came and supported. It was at this place called Comedy Spot in the Boston Commons Mall in Virginia. And we did it. And then they said, all right, you guys can come back next 2 weeks, and I'll give you 5 minutes. Now, knowing, being 17 years in comedy now, this guy just didn't give a shit about your comedy career. He just cared about charging people, filling some seats, getting some. But we're like, yo, we got a big show coming up,
Right.
We moving up in the world, right? So now we had 5 minutes. I spent that same time doing what, like, maybe another 2 weeks. We got ready. I kept doing it. I stuck with it. I stayed with it. Gozy would kind of dip back in here and there. My boy Alan would kind of he would do it like even less frequently as us. But what he would do, he would set up shows at this bar. He was like a manager at this bar that he was working at. So he would set up shows. And at the same time, before I graduated college, I got involved with the radio station. So I was an intern at WPGC 95.5, which is kind of equivalent to like a Power 106 out here.
Right.
And at the time, Donnie Simpson was the morning show host. Big Tigger was in the afternoon. Flex and Rain were in the evenings. And then there's, all the other people, a lot of people in the industry. And so now I'm seeing like, whoa, like I understand this audio side of it. I understand the radio side.
At that point, were you more into like hosting as far as voice commentary, like radio, or were you into comedy, or were you into film, or where was your main focus?
Yeah, the main focus, I want to say, was acting. So anything that allowed me to act or be like, in the scene was definitely the focus. So I looked at radio as like, yeah, I'm gonna get into this internship. I was in the promotions department. I was the guy putting up banners. We were giving out freebies from Hot Tamales or whoever the client was at that time, just giving out free shit to people. And and because I had experience hosting, whenever like one of the main jocks wasn't there, I'd pick up the mic, I'd snatch the mic, and I'd start, interacting with the people wherever we were. So I was playing games with them, doing trivia, doing different things to give the giveaways away. And from that, they started taking notice, and they said, and I was always saying like, I want to be on the air, and they're like, all right, well, you got to give us an air check. And I was like, what the fuck's an air check? So I had to do my research, find out what an air check was, which is basically a demo tape. Your demo, which you would sound like on the radio.
Right.
First air check I did was probably trash. They would literally just throw your air check out if they thought it was trash. And these were on CDs you had to submit. So
what did you think like the proper air check would be when you first did your air check?
Man, it was probably like, what's up, guys? It's your man Brandon Broady here on WPGC 95.5. DC's home release 18 jams in a row, and that's it.
And then like it.
So I thought you could just put your voice in like that. What you actually have to do is you have to have like a music bed underneath. You have to have some sound effects, some explosions, some really cool like things. Maybe even have it lead into like, or you're coming out of a commercial. So it's like, say 15% on Geico. Yo, what's up? So you back on your radio, da 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 da, and then go in like that. So I would constantly submit air checks for them to be swatted. Now, also I think part of that process was like, one, the seasoned jocks probably knew what they had to go through, so they want to see how dedicated and serious people are. So maybe if they even did like my air check, they had to fucking swat it so that you're in your head and thinking like, how can you just continuously grow? So that summer was like an internship. I remember this guy named Shaq in the Pack. He couldn't make one of the events. It was for one of Tyler Perry was having a screening for one of his shows at one of the movie theaters, and the main jock that was he couldn't show up, Shaq in the Pack. So the promotion team was like, we'll send Brody. He fucking does like little they belittled it to like, he does little comedy and microphone shit at his college. So why don't you just let him do it? Man, I blew that thing up. I just had it popping. I was comfortable. Right. So it got back to the station. They were probably expecting just, oh yeah, how did it go? Whatever. They're like, oh yo, no, like they were like, yo, he killed it. So they started trusting me more and more with doing like hosting the events and all that. And so the next summer I got hired as a promotions assistant. So now I'm getting paid to do the stuff I was already doing as an intern, but now I'm feeling myself a little bit. I'm getting paid. I'm driving the vehicles. I'm still doing just from the streets. Leveled up. Just wanted to be on the radio, but it's a nice level up, especially because I'm still going from my junior year to senior year of college. So it was a nice little summer job. And I'm doing stand up at this time. So it's like by the day I'm doing promotions for WPGC, doing all that stuff. At night I'm doing comedy, and then I would also go to the nightclubs and I would start trying to like learn, because some of the DJs would also that were at the station would do nightclubs. So I'd meet up with them, hang in the booth, and I'd crack the mic open with them, and I'd start to try to like learn how to like host with the DJ. And I remember one of my first times, it was my man DJ Soundwave. I showed up to this place called Ultra Bar, And the first thing I cracked the mic, he gave me the mic, said, "You ready?" I said, "All right, bet." And I said something like, "Shout out to all the white people here." He was like, "All right, that's enough." Took the mic for the rest of the night, and he's like, "Come back next week." So I scoped. I started learning game, and then started understanding how to like talk in between the songs, how to actually pull the fader down, and really like, get the party popping. So then going into my next year, mind you, while I'm in college now, I'm like doing stand up. I'm winning the competitions now that are at my college, so I'm able to open for these comedians that are already seasoned that are coming to our college. I'm being able to open for them. I'm doing like everything that is entertainment.
And this was like around what, junior,
senior year, yeah. So I was doing everything, and then especially the limited projects that were available, I would skip school and go do. So I did an episode of The Wire. I did Step Up. I did Step Up 2. Now mind you, I was just background, but if you go watch Step Up or Step Up 2, I'm the dude in the party that's like this. So just remember that I'm doing. Just remember that, all right? You'll see your boy getting it in.
So that was your first big.
I think it was a big acting thing. That was a film, and I remember at that time it's crazy because it's Channing Tatum's in it, and he's just coming in as this white dude nobody fucking knew, and so nobody gave a shit about him. He'd come in, they were like, "Oh, that white dude can dance," and then it was carry on. But then by Step Up 2, it was like he came in as a superstar onto this thing. Anywho, so now I go back to the radio station for my third summer, and this time I came in again as promotions assistant. But I remember I'd still submitted my air checks. They were like, "Yo, you're good," and I remember they said, they're like, "Yo," they gave me my jersey. So they had a meeting. We used to have music meetings where Tigger would play the music for us to see. He'd kind of do focus groups with all the interns and promotion staff, see what we liked, see what they should play. And they surprised me. They said, "All right, we want to also introduce one of our newest jocks, Broady." And I was like, "What?" And then all my promotions team, all the people that I came up with, they were clapping. It was a big celebration. And then I started getting some little radio time, on air time. So this was the little small window from when the night jock would go off to when right before they start the clubs. I was that guy, so they
the interlude.
Yeah, the interlude dude. So they go to the clubs and they come back. Yeah, that's right. You listening to DJ such and such. He's down there at Zanzibar right now. We got a whole bunch. We got some Drake coming up. We got some blah 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 coming up. And then I loved it. I mean, it's crazy. I'm coming in at midnight or 10 o'clock to 2, doing this weird shift. Doing the in between shit
while you're still in school.
This is after I graduated.
Oh, right.
So this is right after I graduated. Yeah, but so I'm doing that, and I'm doing stand up, and then I'm also doing stuff for the CW in DC. And because of the radio job and everything I've done, I started picking up clients. I got Buffalo Wild Wings, I got YMCA, I got Cricket Wireless, and it was all fun and games until some of the older jocks, they didn't really fuck with the fact that I'm now getting money because it's coming out of their pocket now, or it's money that they could be getting. I'm just young. It was all fun when do your thing.
Yeah, people don't want to see you doing better than them.
But now I'm getting because, and a lot of the brands, their thing was Brody's young. He's he fits the mold of the Cricket was new. It just hit DC, and it was a new company. And I remember I was doing one event, same thing. I was doing promotions. One of the jocks that was supposed to be the talent for the event, she was running late, so I hit her up, and I was like, "Yo, you're supposed to be here right now, right?" She's like, "Oh shit, can you hold it down until I get there?" I was like, "Yeah, I got you." So I held it down, and I started getting on the mic, and then I remember the client came over and was like, "Hey, somebody else supposed to be here," and I was like, "Oh yeah, she's on her way. I'm just doing this. We just do this." I was really trying to cover her. She's like, "Oh no, she don't need to come. You're doing fine. You're good." And I was like, "All right." So then I remember the account executive had a conversation with me "Yo, so I don't know what you did with Cricket, but they fucking love you and they want to rock with you. So I'm trying to pull all types of strings and see what I can make happen, because technically you are a jock, but they're also saying you're not a jock because you're hired by promotions." So it started getting real tricky with that. So that was it hurt. It honestly hurt, because I felt like I had all these people had my back, and now I'm feeling like I'm being ostracized for the same thing that I'm being commended for.
Right.
So stand-up was the thing that where I felt like there was no one in my way but myself. So I just kept doing the stand-up. I'd go out, and I was growing exponentially at stand-up, because now I had not only been doing stages, but I started reading books. I started like ordering on Amazon any book that I could get my hands on. I had to do stand-up comedy, I'd order, and I was reading, I was doing the workbook stuff, I was really watching all the greats. Like I was putting in the time. Like I was like, oh my God, I found my passion, I found my gift, I found my love. Like, you know, a lot of people, it wasn't like, for some people that would go do stand-up, it was their hobby. They'd get off their government job in DC, do a few jokes, and then, you know, carry on. Me, it was like I was waking up and writing.
That's what makes you happy.
It made me happy. I'm writing. I have like at least 8 composition notebooks just loaded, you know, front to back with all my jokes and everything. And I was finding like, you know, this is it's like a safe space. It's like a place where I'm being congratulated, I'm being respected, I'm being appreciated. And I started headlining within probably 4 years of me doing stand-up comedy. And I remember in 2010, my uncle had a conversation with me, and he was like, you should move to LA. Because I talked about all my frustrations that were going on with the radio station, and how I felt like I put in so much time, and I'm like right here, but I'm just getting a little, it's like being dangled. I'm getting a taste of it, but I'm not getting the full, what I know experience. I can do.
Right.
Because I started this segment with them called Brody Beats the Block, where I would take one of their camcorders out and go hit the streets and shoot content. Same thing I was doing, but I'd be passing out tickets like, yo, we're going to play a game. You know, I'm going to give them a riddle. I'm going to give them a trivia. I'm going to do whatever for these birthday bash tickets. If they get it right, they're going to win. And I'll do this content. They were like, yeah, go do your thing. We don't give a shit about that. And at that time, I saw the power of Twitter. I saw the power of the internet. And I could see that terrestrial radio was transforming as we know it. You know, a lot of people were looking at just being on the radio. That's where you want to be. I was like, you know what? I'll do these little videos and post them. My videos were getting traction because people were sharing the videos like, yo, Brody's going to be here with these birthday bash tickets. So I was like, when I would get shut down on the on-air stuff, I was like, all right, cool. Let me just navigate this other plane. And of course, some of the other old heads started seeing what I was doing, and then they started wanting a piece of what I was doing out in the streets. And then it fucked me up because I'm like, oh, it's called Brody Beats the Block. I like created it. Right. I created it. It was me, the video girl. Her name's D. Marie. Bless her heart, my sis, yo. And this other dude, Brian, he was like the white nerdy dude at a black radio station that was like really, he was the web guy, you know?
So when all the other like radio jocks hit the streets, were they like, did they change the name? What did they? No,
they would still use their same name, but it was interesting that they were doing an emulation of what I was doing.
Right.
But I wasn't really getting the credit for that. It wasn't like, how can we, it was almost like, how can we take his thing? So when I started to feel that, I'm talking about like, when I got that thing, the camera started doing it, I started calling up different businesses, and I would say, hey, I'm Brandon Broady of WPGC. I'd like to pass out some birthday bash tickets and do a call-in from your place. So I'm going to restaurants, and they're like, oh, hell yeah, we'll get some free publicity. He's going to hook us tickets. I lie to you not, Telli, like that summer or that year was so popping for me. I was able to eat at like any restaurant in DC. I was going to any club. I was getting shit like for free, like sneakers, all that, because I would come in, give out some tickets, and then do some call-ins on the radio.
Like you're winning. You're winning and they're
Everybody's
winning.
winning. So I pimped it like, yeah, I'm getting paid such and such, but I was getting paid so much more under the table or through these, you know, other deals I was doing. So that kind of like helped my business acumen and taught me like how to like really lean into like my resources. I mean, it's like I wasn't working with any money. Right. I was working with just like these tickets for different things. Yeah, I'm getting Beyonce tickets out. Like people would give me goddamn anything for some Beyonce tickets, you know.
Their soul.
Yeah, so they sold. I'm going to Wizards games for free. I'm going to Redskins games.
So you were getting the tickets from the radio, and they were telling you go on the streets, go do your
to
thing,
give them
to
out.
Give the
and
tickets
so I'd hold on to them though to give them to the right people.
Right.
So I'm like, yo, we got tickets for this Redskins game coming up. We got tickets for this Wizards game. All right. Can you hook me up with such and such? So I'm swapping. Now I'm cool with promoters. I've been going to the club to rock with the DJs. Like I literally had connects every single place. My uncle would be like, yo, my uncle, he goes by Brody too. He's James Brody, but everyone calls him Brody. And it'd be funny. We go places and they'd shout my name and he would be like, yo, it's crazy they're saying our name, you know? And he was getting to go to places off my strength.
Right.
You know, and he's already popping, pretty popular guy in DC. Like, had a lot of friends, a lot of cool social circles. And it was funny the times I'm getting him and his friends in different spots that I'm doing, or I was promoting different clubs. And he's the one that really had, you know, when I told him all my frustrations with the radio and all this momentum I was having, it felt like I was plateauing. It felt like I was doing everything I could possibly do entertainment wise through CW. I was doing everything I could possibly do with radio. There's limited acting, you know. I was doing, you know, silly, stupid projects here and there, but I wanted so much more. And he was like, Brandon, you should move to LA. And I'm like, well, I don't know, man. I don't know anyone in LA. Yeah,
right. And you're doing good here.
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, but you've gotten to that point of like, you've done everything you could possibly do, and now I need to do more.
I need to do more. I was hungry for more. I absolutely was hungry for more. So in 2010, I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to take a trip to LA. I was going to my niece's wedding. She was having a wedding in San Diego, so I was going to her wedding. And I was like, I'm gonna fly into LA, I guess, and I'll take the train to San Diego, and, you know, spend time in LA and spend time in San Diego. Right. So in my time in LA, my homie, one of my friends from high school, was like, yo, because we had started doing production stuff outside of that. So some of the guys that I knew from high school hit me up after we all graduated. One of the guys said, hey, I got a camera. I don't know really what the fuck to shoot. I know. And so we assembled a team. Like, you know, remember Brandon Broady was always doing funny stuff. Maybe we could shoot some stuff with him. So we just started shooting stuff. One of the things we shot was a spec Doritos commercial for the Doritos competition. So we started really working together and like always thinking about what we could shoot. This is years before Instagram, years before like YouTube, right. You know, like, or maybe right around YouTube time, but before content was like the thing.
Right.
So he ended up flying out as well. He had a cousin. He's like, I have a cousin in LA. I'll visit him, and we can kind of look at places together. So we kind of browsed different spots. We were gonna be roommates, and as we take this trip, one of the other guys from our team was like, yo, I want to move to LA too. I'm interested in that. So he ends up he ends up linking with the other dude, and they move out to LA. Like, Brody, you're coming, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. I started getting cold feet about LA, and I was like, no, I'm definitely coming. But I had all this shit still popping in DC with the radio. I was like, I mean, it's good money too. Like, some of these things I was hosting, like, it was like $250 an hour. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, it's hard to not have nothing lined up in LA,
right, and
leave that. So I ended up finally coming in May of 2010. So it was February that we did the browsing. May 2010, I finally moved a bunch of my stuff, shipped my car cross country with a bunch of my belongings in it, and we moved into Echo Park. 3 bedrooms, you know, two floors. Dope little spot when I really think about it. And I'd pay like $560 a month. You know, that's all I had to do. So what I would do is I'd fly back to DC, do some events, then fly back to LA. I was racking up miles. I got all the customer advantage numbers for every airline because right. I was flying. I became a professional traveler because I was flying back to do radio events. Then I'd go back to LA. Then I'd fly back, and I'd go back because I was making more money out there, right. And then using it out here and figuring it out. And then, you know, and so since then, now it's been 13 years that I've been in LA. So it got to the point where I was able to make more money in LA, where I had to go back to DC less frequently. And what's interesting is that the people at my radio station, you know, I would see them when they come out here for the different award show and everything, and they respected what I was doing, you know, so that it gave them a bigger sense of respect because I did something that a lot of people think about doing. They're either scared to do it, they don't have the time to do it, they don't have the resources, or they actually have a better thing going on. But I think they really respected that I just took that leap of faith.
Yeah,
you know?
and I feel like too, like when you're in a comfortable situation, you don't want to leave that comfortable situation.
For sure.
So there's a lot of people that are probably, you know, successful in what they do, mm-hmm. and they stay stagnant because they don't want to grow because they're comfortable.
Yeah,
you know, so
complacency is a demon, man. It can really fuck you up, man. Complacency.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't care what in any industry. Complacency.
110%.
Yeah.
110%. So what about family? How did family tie into everything that you had going on with, you know, moving and just dealing with the radio and, you know, just being busy trying to get everything together for your life?
Well, so I told you my dad was on board
mm-hmm.
with the acting thing back in high school. My mom, I remember I could like almost see it in her face when she really came on board. It was when she first heard my voice on the radio. Like we're at home. I'm like, oh, you're about to hear me. And she heard my voice on the radio. She's like, wow. And she really saw that. And then I think the second thing that really got her on board was, Donnell Rawlings was actually a person I started touring with. But nice. he was working at the radio station. I met him through the radio station. I met him, actually, I was hosting an event at Buffalo Wild Wings. He was the new jock. He was going to be on the new morning show with Big Tigger and this woman named Danella. And he was going to come and do like a meet and greet at Buffalo Wild Wings. I saw him sitting there, and I gave him a shout out when he was there. I was like, what's up? Give it up for Ashley Larry, a.k.a. Donald Rawlings, a.k.a. Ashley Larry, a.k.a. Ash the God, a.k.a. Ash of the Titans. Clash of the Titans was in theaters right then. Mm-hmm. So the joke hit. I made a little rag on him. I went over to him. He's like, oh yeah, you think that's funny with your little joke, man? No, you talking shit. Like, he gave me shit. But he started seeing how I moved and all that, and I told him like, hey, because I would do the video stuff, and then he'd see like how I could work with him and different things. And then I told him I was like living in LA, and he was like, yo, I got a spot in LA. Yo, maybe you can help me with some of this radio stuff, because he was literally doing the morning show sometimes at 3 a.m. from a tie line, like in his bed with the microphone and the whole antennas and all that.
So that was your transition from like DC to LA.
In that time, yeah. And so I would hang out. I would go over to his place and help him like do these different radio things for the station. And he also helped. I would always want to like edit their commercials and make funny bits, and they would kind of get swatted. I submit stuff to him, and he'd submit it, and they'd be like, "That's great." And he'd be like, "Yeah, you know, Brody did that." They'd be like, "Oh yeah." And then all of a sudden they're on board with that, like they already knew, you know. So he helped me a lot, and I was hanging out over there so much. His girlfriend at the time, you know, she'd be like, "Yeah, why don't you just stay for dinner? You know, you've been here working all day, just stay for dinner and all that." So I'd stay for dinner, and then it started becoming like low key my LA family.
Right.
And there was some other people, and my sis Javanta Roberts, she'd hang out over there. So, and then Latrice, I'd do Twan, and there was just a league of people that would just come over there, and it became this real LA family. And I think Donnell respected my work ethic and how like hard I wanted to work, and I would always tell him like, yo, you know, I do stand up. And for him, a seasoned veteran, it's like you hear someone does stand up, you don't give a shit. Like, all right, whatever.
And you probably have so many people that approach you with it anyway.
Of course. So, but he saw, I think, that I really was like, I'd leave his house, then go hit an open mic. I'd go do a little show here and there, and he's like, yo, you get a tight 10, son, I'll let you open up for me in DC. So I went to the lab and I started getting busy, and so I ended up doing DC Improv with him one Thanksgiving weekend, and that turned into him hitting me up for some more dates to open on the road with him. So I was hosting, you know, and then he started letting me feature a little bit here and there, and I'm like realizing like, yo, like once people started hearing that I was opening for Donnell, it started opening up more opportunities in LA for me. Mm-hmm. Now I'm getting booked to do paid shows in LA. Donnell and Tiffany are some of the main people that got me to do regular shows at Laugh Factory. Laugh Factory is a fortress.
Absolutely.
It's a very like like everyone in the comedians community, like there's just a joke about like how hard, like when you do chocolate sundaes, mm-hmm. they'll give you a date, and that date will be like 10 years out. and they give you a date like it's nothing. Like, okay, so Telli, you want to? All right, so we have an opening. It will be August 15th of 2033, and you're like, nah, come on, man. Yeah. Like, some people's career will start popping before they actually hit their chocolate sundaes date. They'll be in movies and all that before it, but that's just how it is. So he and Tiffany were able to really like vouch for me and get me up in the mix with that. So now where I stand is, I just shot my special on Father's Day, and it's I'd recorded my comedy, you know, maybe 30 minutes here, 40 minutes here, you know, different occasions, but I never put together the special. And the special, in my opinion, based on what I've watched and what I grew up, it's like it's the comedian's like introduction to the world, you know, letting you know who they really are. It has a beginning, a middle, an end. It's a movie, but it's also a comedy show at the same time. It's a thesis, you know. They have a certain point of view, and through it they stick to that point of view. It's how they perceive the world with this thesis in mind. And a good example of that is like Chris Rock's Selective Outrage. You kind of know what he's about what it's going to have to do with just from that title. That's a good special. A lot of comedians get their Netflix thing and all that. They call it a special. I don't call it a special. I call it them doing jokes for 60 minutes. Them doing jokes for 45 minutes. The special has a theme that is tied through the whole thing.
But what made you put it out on Father's Day?
Man, there's a lot of things. So I recorded it on Father's Day. It's still not out. The trailer's out, but the actual special I'm still getting edited right now. I was supposed to do it the day before my birthday, earlier this year, January 22nd.
I'm the 24th.
You're the 24th? Aquarius, let's go. Yeah. I'm literally the 23rd.
We definitely are people that like to hustle and ambitious people. So.
Super ambitious. I think I'm stubborn in that regard. I always feel like I can make it work. I feel like antsy when I'm not working on something. The same way. I feel like guilty where people have had to tell me it's like you can enjoy yourself. Where it's almost like you're almost moving on to the next thing when you've already accomplished one thing because correct.
And you can't really celebrate what you've done because you're already on to the next thing.
I mean, taking the words out of my mouth, and it's like I definitely feel that like I'm always like I can reach a certain level, but it's always because I'm trying to reach the next level. Right. I think the biggest thing that I want from my career is ultimately to have it end up in some kind of philanthropic or humanitarian kind of services. I've always seen that. I'm very involved right now. I work with 2 charities right now. I work one called Kids in the Spotlight, where we I direct films for foster youth. They write, they cast, they act. We shoot, record, and we shoot, edit, and direct them. I came into that early job when I first came out to LA. I made some, friend of a friend had said, hey, this guy Brandon Broady knows how to hold a camera. He knows how to shoot. So I came in as a shooter, like my boy Matt over here, shooting it, and just for a little, $100-something. I need the money. I was like, cool, I'll do this. But I like the organization. I like what it stood for, and I also like that it was nurturing some skills for kids that when I looked at my life, I was like, there was only one person in my life that did that for me, Mr. Graham. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for him, I really don't know that I'd be doing this. I don't know that I'd be here. And you need to open that up and unlock that in kids, in the youth. Absolutely. Like, they don't know that a lot of teachers told me, I was disruptive. Some were, saying I was bad. Some would go on. Instead of
positive
reinforcement and knowing that absolutely. I am a smart kid. I can, I do get good grades as far as academia, but as far as my behavior, you're scrutinizing me for my behavior when it's because there's something else that I can put my talents for. Right. I'm being so anyway, so I saw that organization. It really warmed my heart. And so I told the leader of it, her name's Tai G, that I was like, I'll work with you to whatever capacity. So they had me shoot another project maybe the next year, and the next year they asked me if I wanted to direct one of them, and I'm like, holy shit. Now it's I got my film degree coming in where I know how to direct it, I know how to edit it, I know how to shoot. All my kind of talents are coming in, and it's like me. It's like a letter to my younger self,
Gotcha.
By helping out these kids with it. And again, now I'm in this position where I literally have another film I just directed in April for them. I may be 12, 13 films in with them now.
That's amazing.
And I told I'm aligned with this organization for the rest of my life. I started working with another charity called Peggy Beatrice Foundation, and they feed the homeless in Skid Row.
I love that.
And so every Tuesday, Skid Row, I donate. You donate clothes, feed them, whatever. I'll probably go tomorrow and donate some clothes. And,
well, cheers to that.
Yeah.
So what are you drinking?
It's club soda. But my whole point was with that. It's these types of organizations, these are things. Now the Kids in the Spotlight has grown so big. We do these films. They have a screening in November of which the kids get to see their films. They have an award show. They dress up. And early on, it was at little small theaters. It's gotten so big now. There's so many more sponsors, so many people that have aligned themselves with it, big A-list names, that it now... The screening has been at Paramount lot. It's been on the Fox lot. It's been at Regal Theaters in LA. This year I'm not sure where it's going to be, but probably somewhere very ritzy, and it's just a whole other thing. They've gained enough funds where they opened up a center, a whole school basically, so the kids can now have a space to write. There's sets that are embedded in there that they can shoot from, like a little courtroom, a bedroom, a house, different sets that are already pre-dressed. And I feel like that's through comedy, through acting, through hosting, through whatever I'm doing this, it's because I want to be able to absolutely set up something that fosters some kind of program for youth to get into like a school or something,
Absolutely.
something that fosters that type of thing. And that's the ultimate humanitarian side of it, the philanthropic side of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's always good to give back, especially when it's helped
Yeah.
your career, and having a mentor and just having that guidance of what it is that you might want to do, or what it is someone might want to do but they don't know how to go about it. So I think that's amazing.
And I love this shit. And I love
Absolutely.
it.
And you have to have a passion for things when you want to go into philanthropical stuff, because it's like when you don't have a passion, you don't get paid for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to want to do it.
Yeah.
And find surrounding people that want to do it as well.
And I've done many things where I wasn't paid. I've done many things where I didn't know how many hours, where I did it for the love of the craft. I did it for the love of this industry and like what it can represent. And then
Absolutely.
And I just know that like I've found it's, what do they say? Success is when your passion meets your opportunity, or what is
Absolutely,
it?
yeah.
And I think that's where I'm at right now.
That's amazing. That's an amazing place to be at, and not a lot of people find that.
They don't.
So it's good that you're there, and congratulations to you being there. So for everyone that comes on, we play this game,
Nice.
Dirty Minds. I'm gonna. I feel like I've played it so much, so I'm gonna let you play, and you pick your cards however many. Well,
What are you
let's
drinking,
do 3.
by the way?
I am drinking ginger and
Vodka?
like a ginger blended drink, but there's no liquor in it.
Oh, there's no liquor?
There's no
I didn't know
liquor.
y'all have ginger up in here?
No, I brought my own.
Oh, you brought your own?
Yeah.
Man, see that?
Yeah, I needed
Didn't know
like
we
just
get
a ginger.
BYOG, bring your own ginger up here. All right.
So you pick just 3 cards.
Pick 3 cards
and give them
down?
to me. Yeah, pick 3 cards and give them to me. So I'm going to ask you what's on the cards. So, all right.
Oh,
so I'm going to describe an object with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 descriptions, and you have to guess what it is.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, boy.
All right. All my holes are open to you. Your stick needs to be long and straight to play with me.
All my holes are open to you. Your stick needs to be long.
To play with me. If you haven't got the balls, you can't do me. You usually rub your tip before you shoot. You don't want to scratch your balls.
Pool table.
Good job.
Woo! or a very whorish woman.
All right, second thing. I might need a fudge packer to finish me off. My balls can taste sour in your mouth. If I'm hard enough, you can suck on me for hours. Bite me hard and I could cream all over your face. You like it when I come in your Easter egg basket.
A chocolate rabbit.
No.
Ice cream chocolate bar.
No.
A Cadbury egg.
No, but candy. You're there.
What kind of candy?
It just says candy.
Oh, come on, man. That's too vague. It's a Cadbury egg, if anything. That's the chocolate that has the cream on the inside.
You were there, though. You were there.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. I'm a 4-letter word. I'm a name for a woman. I end in UNT. Sorry, I was dyslexic for a second. Sometimes your uncle makes me come. Sometimes I come with your cousin.
Well, that'd be it. That'd be your good old aunt.
Good job. You did great.
Yeah,
Some people are like completely off, but you did amazing.
Yeah. I knew they wanted you to say cunt. They wanted you, the game wanted you to say cunt. With the uncle coming on, the aunt thing,
Exactly. So tell everybody where they can find you, what you got coming up, all that good stuff.
You guys can find me on all social media platforms at Broady the Joker. That's BROADY the Joker. I just shot my special, Light Skin Dark Secrets, on Father's Day, and the reason, like I said, was everything didn't work out in January, and so I pushed it, and then it became a better day because Juneteenth was the next day. People could take off. It's a lot of things lined up better for that reason. But Light Skin Dark Secrets, coming soon at Broady the Joker on all social media platforms. That's where they can find me.
Make sure you guys tune in to all things that Brandon Broady has going on, and that is it for Telli Talks.